All right, here we are, Cancer Capricorn. To me, this is one of the heaviest interceptions, maybe the heaviest. It also happens to be one of mine. Um, and all right, so this interception is also going to impact the fourth and 10th houses. And all right, the natural order of things is that we learn to express ourselves and explore the world in Gemini, and then we get comforting and nurture and acceptance in Cancer, and safety, and just a foundation in life. And then we move on to Leo to like be self-confident and express ourselves, and learn who we are as an individual. What like Cancer is like the role in the family, and Leo is the role, like, is like who I am as an individual and how the world receives me, how others receive me. So with with this interception, whoa, I got I got fuzzy there for a second. With this interception, there's this disruption of that, where actually I'll talk about the other side of it first. Okay, so then in Sagittarius, we explore the world and find out what our belief system is, and develop a worldview, and then from there we decide what our professional goals are. And I just mumbled, professional goals are, and establish our place in society. And we choose a profession and live that profession, and we're recognized and rewarded, whether with money or status or whatever, with success, as a result of our efforts through Capricorn in the 10th house. Um, and we can then build on our success there with Aquarius, which is all about not just like fitting into the world as it exists now, but actually like changing the world and improving the world. It's progressive, it's focused on the future, and um, it's kind of idealistic, and wants um, a new order of how things happen in society, wants to change things. And when this is all disrupted, the expectations of Gemini, what we learn and how we process information and our logic, the expectation is that Gemini is not going to support Cancer, so we're not being nurtured as a result of, let's say, exploring the world. We uh, try to climb up the stairs and end up like falling and hurting ourselves, and being like cuddled and comforted the way, Cancer is about comforting physical things too, not just emotional. But um, instead of that natural flow of things, the learning and exploring and curiosity of Gemini is expected, and communication is expected, um, to make us productive or responsible, or to fit tradition like in society. And then instead of our self-confidence and ability to shine and express ourselves in Leo being built on this foundation of emotional safety and like emotional validation and nurturing in Cancer, instead of that happening, our sense of like self-confidence, ability to lead, all of that is instead focused on how productive we are, how responsible, how like serious, and how well we fit into society. Wow. We gain recognition through showing how responsible we are or how well we fit into society too. Like, children, they want applause for showing off their thing that they're doing, whether it's a trick they just learned or some art. They're looking for applause for that, and with this interception, there's more of a focus on you get applause when you accomplish something that's more like practical in nature or productive in nature. And then on the other side of it, with Sagittarius, the development of a belief system and worldview is meant to support Cancer, not Capricorn. And Aquarius is built on the foundation of Cancer, not Capricorn. So, how this can end up playing out is the worldviews that we are expected to have need to support home and family, and need to um, be focused on the feelings of one or both of our parents, and be nurturing. And there's one of the things that Capricorn does is allows us to create boundaries and claim territory um, in a, not like necessarily in a very literal way, but like to make a space for ourselves in society, in the world. Um, and when this ability to, form boundaries and, um, make a space for ourselves is not present after this Sagittarius and before Aquarius, what can happen is that instead of building professional success for ourselves, we end up dealing with issues of home and family, and um, we're expected to do what our, to live our lives the way, our adult lives the way our parents think that we should according to their worldview. And um, then when Aquarius is built off of Cancer instead of off of Capricorn, instead of building off of our success as an adult, where we don't get that option, like our future prospects, and um, this notion of like wanting to change the world, or like our hopes and dreams, our idealism is kind of denied us because we're like still focused on this, these childhood or like family themes. So parents try to impose this on their children when this interception is involved in their lives. Like they're not really allowed to have their own worldviews and hopes and dreams for their future. Like those things are expected to revolve around family, and like their family of origin, and like Cancer is more like correlated with the mother, and Capricorn is more correlated with the father. So it ends up being like what our moms want for us and our lives, essentially ends up being like what's what our early environment and, well, interceptions, like it's most impactful in our formative years, like up through the age of 5 or 6, but it continues throughout childhood. And for this particular one, like well into adulthood too. Because one of the themes with Cancer and Capricorn intercepted is that we're kind of expected to behave like an adult when we're a child and like a child when we're an adult. So this particular interception, the impacts of it last well into adulthood unless we open the interception. So I'm going to go ahead and read the notes that I have on these chapters. And like I added some of my own observations and experiences and understanding as well, obviously. So it's kind of like my own combination of all of it. But anyways, all right. So this interception, or with this interception, people are expected to behave as an adult or parent in their childhood and as a child in their adult years. Cancer in the fourth house are about feeling emotionally safe and validated. It's also about feeling cozy and comfortable at home. Just in general, home is meant to be a haven in life, a place to rest and feel good. A healthy family accepts and nurtures us. And people with this interception didn't have this in their childhood home and family. They had to find their safe haven in their mind, on television, in books, at school, on the internet, in video games, in another family's home, out in nature, in my case, in their own little corner of the house, or like pretty much anywhere else other than with their parents. They didn't have a sense of emotional safety, and they were expected not to express their emotions. They may have also been expected to be responsible for things which were not age appropriate. They may have had too many chores or needed to treat their education like a job. In the very least, they were expected to behave as a rational adult while they were still young, rather than being free to feel and express big feelings and to have childish emotional needs. They were criticized instead of comforted when they were overcome with the kind of big feelings that are very natural and normal for small children to experience. These feelings were simply not allowed, not validated, and perhaps even punished. Any affection given to the child was to meet the parents' needs, not theirs, not the child's needs. So one of the themes with Capricorn is discipline. Um, Discipline was also interrupted or unhealthy. Sometimes they were not disciplined at all. Other times they were disciplined when what they needed was to be nurtured. Extreme discipline, physical abuse, can also sometimes occur with this interception, but not necessarily. An important part of teaching a child discipline is offering recognition and rewards for a job well done, and this lack of follow through may also be present. So, one of the things that we get in Capricorn in the 10th house is the rewards for our efforts. And if we don't get that in childhood when we make efforts to be productive or be responsible, then that is also in a way a lack of nurturing. But like you could say it's a lack of discipline, because part of discipline is the positive, I don't want to say affirmations, the positive, like the rewards. It starts with an A. Anyways, the rewards. So we form positive associations with being responsible and doing things that we're supposed to do. Like we need we need to be rewarded for our efforts. Um, So it can actually even be a combination. So there can be like an extreme lack of discipline combined with overburdening with responsibilities and lack of training in how to be appropriately self-disciplined. Like that can all occur simultaneously. For example, a parent may expect the child to do too many chores, but not give the child direction, rewards, or structure regarding when to do them. And the family may live in a messy, uncomfortable home as a result. So not only are they not getting the Capricorn side of it, the discipline, but they're also, they also don't have a comfortable home that they feel safe in as a result of like that particular example, which may or may not be from my own childhood. Um, it is. So then what can happen is like another example would be a parent might expect the child to do well in school, but like never offer any help with homework or not like check in to make sure that they're like actually doing their homework or, reward them if they get good grades or, whatever the case might be. Just as like that was not my experience, but that, just as another potential example of what that could look like. If these children were not expected to take care of practical matters in their home, and a lot of them are, um, there was, in the very least, usually some kind of emotional incest with one or both parents. So the term emotional incest means that the parent child emotional relationship is either treated as an equal relationship or the child is actually expected to emotionally take care of the parent. So instead of the child getting to be an immature, emotional little child who gets nurtured by parents, it's the other way around. And the child is expected to do the nurturing or to like, have an emotional, like an adult emotional relationship with them. The parent was emotionally expressive and needy, and the child were expected to cater to the parent's emotional needs and to comfort and nurture them. Sometimes this happened because the parents were never properly nurtured on their own or in their own childhood, and therefore don't know how to nurture their own children. That's a cycle that's extremely difficult to break, but it is possible. I have done it with my own children. Sometimes one parent works a lot and is absent from the home, while the other parent is responsible for most, if not all, of the parenting responsibilities and is unable to do both alone. When one parent is absent or distant from the other, sometimes the child is treated as a substitute partner. They're given adult responsibilities and expected to keep their parent from feeling lonely. They may be told about worrisome challenges or painful events that the parent or family is experiencing, of which the child is not like ready to hear. Like they're not like mature or old enough to like bear the burden of knowing the things that they know. Like there are things that you just should not tell children. They're not ready for it. Um, Perhaps they had a demanding actual job in childhood. That's another possibility, like a child actor, for example. Whatever the reason, children born with this interception are often parentified in some manner or like expected to behave as an adult or like older than their actual age when they were young. Sometimes this interception can indicate having a seriously ill parent, whether it's like physical or mental health, losing a parent to death or abandonment at a young age, or even like living in foster care or like a relative's home or something like that. One way or another, people with this interception were not allowed to truly be children as children. They were not emotionally validated, comforted, and nurtured. They did not feel truly safe and comfortable in their childhood home. However, when these children become adults, the expectation is often for them to be dependent and immature like children. They may have an overbearing parent that tries to parent them well into adulthood. They may have a difficult time truly living independently in practical areas of life. And if they have children of their own, they may look to their children to meet their emotional needs. This interception can indicate that the mother needed to have children for some reason. I think there's multiple possible reasons, but for some reason, the mother needed to have children. Their children are made responsible for their feelings. There can be poor boundaries or no boundaries between the mother and child. And many people with this interception feel their mother's emotional needs, or I'm sorry, many people with this interception feel their mother's emotional, I did it again. Many people with this interception feel their mother's emotions and needs as their own well into adulthood, often without even realizing it. That was my experience. They struggle as they try to live their lives in ways that aren't right for them because they fail to recognize when they're overly bonded with their mothers on an emotional level. So, the very nature of motherhood is okay. So, when we are in our mother's wombs, we literally biologically feel their emotions because they share a blood supply with us, right? Like and we're very like energetically close with our mothers as well. In the womb, we feel everything our mother feels, and when we're infants, we bond with our mothers, and in doing so, like our mothers, in a healthy bonding mother-child relationship, whatever the baby is expressing, whether it's distress or amusement, whatever it is, the mother will actually mirror that to the baby. If the baby's crying, they're like, oh, and if the baby's laughing, they're like, ha 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 ha. And it's something that a lot of mothers just kind of naturally do, and it gives babies the opportunity to um, recognize their own emotions and learn how like what they're feeling. And without that, it can be pretty difficult to know what our own feelings are. And there's more to it though. Part of the bonding experience with our mothers is that they kind of just intuitively know what we need when we're crying. Do we just need some skin to skin contact? Are we hungry? Is it gas? Do we need to burp? Is it we just need something to suck on? Babies love to suck. Is it that we are tired and need to be like comforted to sleep? Is it too hot in there? Is it too loud? Whatever it is, like the mother's ability to create a comfortable environment and uh, comfortable like physical experience in life for the baby is part of the bonding process. And what happens like naturally is like, we're very intensely bonded with our mothers, and then there's more distance the older we get as we become our own person. And if we have a very strong foundation of this emotional nurturing in childhood and as a baby, then we, that, we can still be like close with our mothers, but not like that. Not like, we're feeling the same things as each other. But with this particular interception, the child's needs are never really fully validated, and instead, the child is expected to be responsible for the mother's emotional needs, and that bond is expected to remain throughout the child's lifetime. Their entire lives, they're meant to be responsible for their mother's feelings. And this happens so young and on such a deep level. And in a profoundly energetic way. Like we are very, very energetically linked with our mothers just in general, like as human beings. It's a thing. Um, and when this happens with this interception, they're like on an energetic and emotional level, they're overly bonded with their mothers um, because even though the correct emotional nurturing did not occur, um, mom was so emotionally needy, and instead of the mom mirroring the baby's feelings, if mom was upset, then it would upset the baby. And um, what ends up happening is they struggle as they try to live their lives in ways that maybe aren't even right for them because they fail to recognize that they're overly bonded with their mothers on an emotional and energetic level. They don't know why they're feeling what they do, and they often have difficulty recognizing what they're feeling because that mirroring didn't happen and their emotions were always, or usually, or at least very often, completely invalidated when they were young. This is because their mother's feelings have been thrust upon them to such an overwhelming extent while they are denied their own feelings their entire lives. Like literally their entire lives. That was how it was for them. As humans, our emotions are meant to be a feedback system to us, to let us know when we're on the right course in life, to let us know what's right for us. So when people with this interception are disconnected from their own feelings through invalidation, while also being overly energetically bonded with a mother who's extremely emotionally needy, my own frustration with my own mother might be coming through in this moment. So while that's happening, it can create a great deal of resistance and stress in their bodies and feelings when they try to do things in their lives that their mother would find distressing. So like even if like mom like probably is never even going to find out that I'm doing this, or the person is doing this, it can still be a really stressful thing because um, we might not even know why and might even have a hard time recognizing that it's happening. We just know that we're feeling anxious, or maybe not even that, or it's just a struggle, because we've been made to be responsible for the feelings of our mother. When this happens, they may have no idea why they're finding something so stressful. This can make it extremely difficult to trust their emotions, to gauge what's right for them and what goals they want to set in life. So, Capricorn is where we set our goals in life. And when Cancer and Capricorn are reversed, it makes it very, very, very hard to know what goals we want to set, or to set them, or to go for them. So this can look like a lack of ambition, or it can look like um, kind of scattered ambition. And like if we really weren't properly disciplined either, then it can be hard to have the like self-discipline to do the things that we need to do in order to accomplish what we want to accomplish, um, at least to some extent, or maybe a large extent. A great deal of inner conflict and confusion can be generated for people with this interception if they don't recognize the energetic and unconscious emotional impact their mother's feelings have on them. So in my case, the way that I addressed this, and to some extent I feel like I'm still addressing it, and I've done a lot of work on this, but the first thing that I did was learn how to read micro expressions by watching the television show Lie to Me, which is a it's kind of like a crime drama, but they give like legit information on like the expressions people make when they're feeling this or that. So I learned how to read people's facial expressions to tell what they were feeling. Then once I did that, I started to recognize other people's feelings, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so weird. I can like actually tell what's going on with people, and it helps me interact with them a bit. I still didn't know how to respond to it, but like I could, I had more information than I did at least. And then from there, I started to study my own face in the mirror to figure out what I was feeling. And from there, I ended up correlating, like I'd see my face in the mirror and know that I was angry. Oh, I'm angry. How does my body feel? And then I learned how to correlate the understanding that I was angry with the feelings in my body. And I learned how to be aware of my own emotions as a result. Once I did that, I was able to have a better idea of what was going on with me emotionally. And I could tell how emotionally distressing it was for me anytime my mother got involved in anything in my life. And I would purposely keep things secret from my parents because I didn't want to deal with their emotional upset, because my dad's actually like this too. It's not just my mom, like both my parents are like this. Very much so. um, so anyways, um, and I would find that even if my parents didn't even know that I was thinking about doing something or that I was doing something, I would still get really stressed out about it. And I don't know. I've gotten to this point where I like trust myself a lot more, and I'm a lot more aware of my feelings, and I've really explored my inner world a lot, and I still regularly do. I talk to different parts of myself, like, oh, there's some sadness that I'm feeling. Is there a part of me that's sad? And you know what? It's not even always part of me. I can like literally feel other people's emotions from a distance, and sometimes it is one of my parents. um, so then when I'm dealing with feeling other people's emotions, or, hearing other people's thoughts in my head, then, there's different ways of dealing with that. But in any case, it can be a really tricky thing to deal with this. Um, People with this interception can end up in relationships with similar dynamics to their relationship with their parents. So basically, they end up either acting as a parent or as a child in their adult relationships instead of as an equal partner. They also have trouble with boundaries and knowing what distance between themselves and others is appropriate and healthy. And that can include um, taking on our partner's feelings as our own, just like we were forced to do with our mothers and, maybe fathers, or mothers or fathers and or fathers. Um, yep. So, reviewing the chapter again, because I had so much written and I was like, okay, I got to say this stuff, that I didn't even actually finish reviewing all of my material on one of them. And this particular one talks about how people with this interception get this message that so cancer is pretty intuitive, and when we're like trusting our gut, that's kind of a cancer thing. Um, and when Cancer and Capricorn are reversed, then it's seen as being like irresponsible to do that. Like you're not really allowed to like trust your gut to make decisions. Um, there's this focus on Gemini instead. So we're like expected to just use logic to make decisions and to know what's right for us and what goals we should set. Like it all has to be very, very logical. Like we're not supposed to trust our feelings or our gut when making these decisions. And I found that interesting. I have certainly done my share of that in my life. And it also talks about how, with Capricorn not being present between Sagittarius and Aquarius, one of the ways that can work out is not knowing how to set boundaries in relationships or expect other people to like behave in appropriate ways with us, or just in general. Like any kind of violation of boundaries, no matter how outrageous, are just forgiven. So we may experience that with our own parents, and we may experience, or and we may behave that way with partners and with other people in our lives as an adult, like just being too forgiving and too understanding, and not expecting them to behave responsibly. Other people are permitted to act like children and treat us without respect. So I actually just like read that out of this book, to be clear. So anyways, when the person is like living out their conditioning as an adult, a lot of times they try to be just like one of their parents and be with someone who's just like the other parent. And then sometimes, just like with the other interceptions, they can try to do exactly the opposite thing, at least in some ways, and try to be like totally different than their parents and like not be with somebody anything like the other parent. And just like with the other interceptions, if it's still conditioning, like we're still letting our childhood experience determine what, like how we're living as an adult. And um, and so going in the opposite direction is also not healing or opening the interception. So what can happen with this interception is that people who, like, because these people were never emotionally nurtured, they some part of them craves emotional security and they seek that out. And um, oftentimes they want a family of their own, but they also find it smothering. So they're kind of caught in this like catch 22 with, wanting and not wanting a family, because they were never taught good boundaries between self and family. So, on one hand, it's like a thing that they need, but on the other hand, it's um, something that they find draining or smothering, or like it impinges on, or impedes their freedom and comfort. So that can be a pretty tricky thing. And the way to open this interception is to heal the split between Cancer and Capricorn. So in this particular area, a lot of times in this particular interception, a lot of times you need to start with Cancer um, and nurture yourself and have relationships with other people that are emotionally nurturing in a healthy way, but those people also have healthy boundaries, because you also need to learn healthy boundaries too. So so in a way it's almost like, no, not in a way, like, so with this interception, you essentially need to continue maturing and developing as a human being throughout your life. And this this takes on this quality of growing and continuing to mature and develop throughout life, growing much more than an average person does in a lifetime. And also you continue to parent yourself and your partner and your family, your children, as um, in ways that are healthy and have appropriate boundaries, and recognize a need for some distinction between self and family. And it's important to be in equal relationships, because people with this interception are going to tend to take on the role of either a parent or a child in their adult relationships, um, until they start to open this interception. And when they do, then they can be both in a healthy way in their relationship. And it needs to be an equal relationship where the other person is also doing both of these things for them. And my computer just like kind of glitched up a little bit. Not like it sort of froze for a second. But what I just said is that they need to be in a relationship where it's equal, where like they're both, they're nurturing their partner and their partner is nurturing them, um, and they're taking care of each other too. Like it's important that it's an equal relationship, um, and this can be like a really rewarding thing, in every area of life, to continue to grow and develop through adulthood. And it's particularly rewarding when it comes um, to family life and professional life and like your place in society. So these are people that didn't really get their proper foundation in early childhood or in childhood in general, but they learn how to build it for themselves, and they learn how to continue to build it. Like there's no limit to the amount of growth and development they can experience. So that's pretty cool. One of the things that's really important with this particular interception is to learn how to say no to people and to expect others to be responsible for themselves. So one of the more notable things about this description is, or this interception, is that the child is the one that ends up being responsible for severing the mother child bond because the mother won't do it. And for a lot of people with this interception, they may actually need to go no contact with their parents, at least for a while, or um, move a great physical distance from their parents, or both, in order to really um, get freedom to feel their own emotions and to set their own goals in life and to just be their own person, because because it's such a powerful thing, and um, and also so like subtle and unconscious. It's really hard to see it when it's happening. I know this from personal experience. And people with this interception are wonderful at nurturing others throughout their lives, or the rest of their lives. So they can like just interacting with people in the world, they're teaching people um, how to validate their own emotions. Like they teach people how to nurture themselves. So they can teach people boundaries by modeling healthy boundaries for them and by expecting them to behave in responsible ways. They can model healthy emotional expression and healthy emotional boundaries. Like, okay, this is what you're feeling and I feel compassion for that, but I'm not going to accept it as my own. They're like empathy, like feeling other people's feelings is only like healthy to a certain extent. Like if it's overwhelming, that's too much. That's not okay. That's not a healthy experience. Um, and they can teach people around them just by interacting with them or just being seen how to like go for the things that they want in life. You know, how to set goals and how to attain their goals, how to have self-discipline, not because you should, but as a way of taking care of yourself and seeing that you have the kind of life that you want to have. So essentially, people with this interception are reparenting um, the the rest of the world for the next age, because so many people were not well parented. Like this particular interception is kind of like the epitome of not being parented well, and a lot of people don't, like even people with this interception, a lot of them don't recognize it when they're younger. And it's not until they have their own kids and realize that, like, oh my goodness, I would never treat my child the way my parent taught me in this area. Um, or they get some distance, like what the book was saying. Um, that's it's only then that they realize like how messed up it was in some ways, and how they really didn't get a good foundation in life, and they really didn't really weren't taught to recognize and honor their own feelings, much less to be able to express them. So, the other thing about this interception is that because of the weird nature of like the reversal of childhood and adulthood, they also, like, as one of the superpowers that comes with this interception as it opens, have the ability to be young at heart, like eternally young at heart. And that's a pretty beautiful thing, I think. So, anyways, I'm gonna wrap up this one. I don't think there was anything else that I wanted to add. I guess I would just say that I don't even have any placements in Cancer or Capricorn, and this interception has had a really profound impact on my life. Um, it's a doozy. This is a heavy one. So, anyways, yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap this up now. Thank you. Thank you for watching.